You know your hair is pretty bad when you actually have to dip down because your hair is out of shot. What is happening, guys? It is Matt here from Sophisticated Obsession, back with another fragrance video. A couple of you have been asking for those, and a lot of the subscribers that I have are people that are looking for like new fragrances or discover new fragrances. So this is for you guys. Now, just on a side note, if you did want other videos on this channel, so if you wanted me to create maybe more fashion videos, or like what I did in my last video, more of like a chat type of video, then please comment down below and let me know what type of video you would like to see. Enough of that, enough of the big sell. Let's get into this fragrance. Yeah, a little side note, I'd actually burnt myself earlier, so now I've got a nice little tattoo mark that looks almost like a flag, and then a blister. And the blister kind of feels like I've spilt super glue. It's very numb. I feel like I've done that Men in Black thing where they've got like that orb that turns like red hot and it takes off their prints. That's what happened to me. I'm the Men in Beige. Okay, so today the fragrance that I'm going to be reviewing is Sublime Cedar by Zara. God, now I can't actually remember the last time that I did a Zara fragrance. I've got two in my collection, and I did one review ages ago, like not even months, I'm talking years ago. And people on the channel really liked it. The main thing of why I think Zara fragrances are just fantastic for like your everyday use or for people just getting into fragrancing is because they are so cheap. Like, you could spend more on a couple of coffees than getting one of these fragrances. Anyway, that's a little bit of backstory about why I love Zara fragrances. So let's get to the good stuff and let's get testing. Okay, let's do the head notes. Sublime Cedar obviously is going to then have a heavy cedar wood note. Yes, it's very woodsy, it's very pleasant. There is an element of pepperiness in the background, which I do really like, and that kind of makes this fragrance just a little bit more poppy. Poppy? I don't know what that word is. Poppy. But let's go for it. It's more poppy. It's brighter, it's sparky. There is an element to this that then kind of just tingles your senses. There is an element of creaminess here. There's maybe a slight amount of dustiness, but not too much because I don't really dig that. I don't really like it. It's a little bit vanillic. When I say vanillic, I mean that there is a woodsy sweetness here, but it's not honeyfied. There's quite a lot of musk, actually, that's coming through now that I'm smelling it a little bit more. When I'm wafting it around my face, and I do this quite a lot, I use my arms to talk probably a lot more than my actual mouth, and I'm nearly like knocking myself out when I'm getting really animated. But when I'm wafting it around, there is a slight floral aspect here, but it's only slight. There is just like a fruitiness here. I don't know if it's like a raspberry, because it's not like really sweet, like a cherry or like a strawberry. There is something that is quite tart and quite, if that makes any sense at all. It's a very fleeting sort of visit, and to be honest, I've only just picked up on it now. You're probably gonna smell it and go, Matt, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's no sweetness here whatsoever. Right, I'm gonna leave this for half an hour or so this can slide its way on into the mid notes. I need a coffee. Oh, do you see that? I just got attacked by my plant. That is good. Beautiful. Right. Let's get to the mid-notes. The mid-notes, it's got creamier. That pungent spiciness that I think is coming from like pepper or something, that's gone. And what I'm getting instead is more of like a creamy cedar and sandalwood type of smell. I would argue it's got maybe a little bit more generic as it's dried down, but it is still a very pleasant scent. There is an element here that is still interesting. There is some musk notes here that are playing a part in making this a little bit more than just a wood scent. I am still picking up on the pepper notes, even though that I don't think that they are as pungent as once they were. There's nothing really to dislike about it. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to leave it for an hour so this can get well and truly into the base notes. Top tips with Matt. It's actually really good to try fragrances with a coffee. The smell of coffee resets your nose, so if you've been smelling quite a few fragrances, what you will find is that those fragrance particles will kind of get like stuck up in your nose, and then you'll actually struggle to then smell different smells, purely because your olfactory like receptors are getting tired. Now, smelling the coffee actually then kind of clears that and actually then helps your receptors to then understand different smells. Now, yes, it's not exactly the same as then taking a rest and then trying some fragrances like a day later, but if you want to then maybe go out and try on a load of fragrances because we've been in lockdown and you haven't had the chance, then maybe go out and get a coffee at the same time. Okay, ready for the base notes? Let's do this. I've had this on for now about an hour and a half, and what I am now finding is that this is really reining back those real sharp notes, and I'm getting more of a very soothing, almost skin scent, but there is still somewhat of a scent cloud around me. I've got to say, I'm really enjoying this sweetness that's coming through. Before you get worried, gents, there is no sweetness here that I think is overly girly or effeminate. It's actually quite masculine, but there is just something here that then softens this fragrance and makes it just a little bit more accessible and also a little bit more youthful as well. It is starting to die a little bit now, however, that might also be down to the olfactive fatigue that I'm then getting. Do I think that this is going to be like an epic compliment getter fragrance? No, it's not. Really, what is at play here is the wood notes. They are our foundation, and everything else was just layered on top of it. Everything else has kind of disappeared now, and what I'm really getting is just those wood notes coming through and really shining. Do I think that it is maybe a little bit simplistic now? Absolutely it is. Yes, 100%. I'm not gonna lie, the fragrance perfectly matches my outfit. Beige. It's creamy, it's beige. There's nothing really to dislike about it. It's just very, that's nice. And I know that that's not what some people might be after. You know, people might be going like, oh, I want a sexy fragrance, or I want a real masculine scent, or I want something that's like very girly and really sort of effeminate. And it's none of those. It's just a perfect combination of genericness. Okay, so there we have it. Those are the notes that I pick up in this fragrance. Now, let's put it through my rating. As always, this fragrance goes through 5 different categories, and then at the end, I will give you my overall score. So the first category is the presentation. The presentation to this is very much like the fragrance. It's like it's quite nice, but that's it. There isn't really any frills. There isn't anything that is like, wow, oh my god, that is amazing. They've really pushed the boat out. No, it's very, very basic. To start with, we have the box, and it is literally just that. There isn't anything really interesting. This is slightly embossed, like it's like slightly raised. Inside, it's kind of well packaged in the sense that the bottle isn't going to be rattling around in there, but there isn't anything in there that is like, okay, yes, that is like way above and beyond I would ever expect. But for the price that you pay, are you expecting anything more? No. On the bottle, the good thing is that this is glass, so this does feel like quite nice in your hand, but apart from that, that's it. The cap, it is plastic. It doesn't actually click, which is annoying, so don't pick it up from the cap because it might come off. The best feature to this, however, is the atomizer. Wow, yeah. God, it went in my mouth. As you can see, this atomizer yields a small explosion. So that is definitely its best feature. Is that enough to get it a point? No. No, it's not. I understand that you're not really going to be getting much for like 13 quid, but at the same time, I have got to be objective and it's just a bit meh. So it doesn't get a point for its presentation. Okay, next up, performance. The performance is okay. I get about 4 hours wear out of this. The notes that they are using, I thought would have lasted a lot longer. On my skin, wood notes last exceptionally well, and for this to last about 4 hours, I don't know, I'm indifferent to it, I suppose. The thing is though, you could literally bathe in this and you would be barely breaking £10. In that respect, I kind of think, well, yeah, if it's just kind of dying a little bit, put on some more. But then I get if you are commuting or if you are going to work and it's just you don't have a bag or anything, then carrying this whopping great bottle is going to be a little bit of an inconvenience for some people. I get a good amount of projection for probably the first half an hour to hour, and then after that it really does become a bit more of a skin scent. I think weighing up all of this, I get the price point, but again, I do have to be objective with other fragrances that I have then reviewed on this channel, and it does not get a point for its performance. Okay, number 3, target audience. The target audience to this, I personally think, is aimed at young men. Teenagers or young lads that are just getting into fragrancing, I think that this is a really good fragrance to start with because it's just not going to cost you that much at all. Also, I would say on a side note, Zara has a huge array of perfumes in their collection. So I think that if you are a lad and you are then looking for a few different fragrances, Zara is a great choice to then start with. I do think that some women could pull this off, but I think that you would have to be a little bit more confident in wearing a heavier fragrance. I do think men of all ages could very easily pull this fragrance off, which is why I'm giving it a point. Okay, number 4, versatility. The versatility to this is where I think that this fragrance really shines. First of all, let's look at the seasons. I think that this is a perfect spring or autumnal fragrance. It's light, but there are heavier notes here that give this a little bit more depth and body. So this works perfectly for days that are quite bright, but still bitter. I do think that there are other fragrances out there that would beat this fragrance in the high heat of summer. I also think that in the winter, in the deep winter, you probably want a cozier or a more intoxicating scent to really snuggle up to, and this, it kind of is, but there are other things out there that could probably do this a lot better. I personally don't think it is an evening scent because it is quite light and airy. I think that this would suit more of like a daytime setting. However, I do think that this works quite well if you want to dress it up slightly and take it to work. I think that because it is more of a skin scent by the time you actually get into the office, you're not going to then be killing any of your colleagues and smoking them out. However, I think that the best setting for this is more of a casual daytime scent that you can maybe spray on if you're going down to the shops, or maybe spray on just before you go for like a spot of lunch, now that we can actually go out for lunch again. Yes! So with all of that in mind, I have no qualms whatsoever in giving this a point for its versatility. And finally, number 5, we come down to uniqueness. And no, this is not unique. Not at all. It's a wood scent with some slight pepper notes in there. It starts out unique, and I think, ooh, this is interesting, and then it just turns average. It's nice. That's the best way that you can describe it. And yes, I know that nobody likes being called nice, but I think that that suits this fragrance. So, in summary, that gives Zara's Sublime Cedar a 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, I think that is fair for this fragrance. I personally really like this fragrance, and I think that it smells very, very nice. But that is it. And there we go, guys. That is my full review of Zara's Sublime Cedar. I hope that you have enjoyed it and that you have found it somewhat informative, or if you've just got a cheap laugh, then I'm happy with that as well. Now, before you go, if you could please do me the biggest favor of all, hit the like button on this video and go over to Sophisticated Obsession on Instagram and hit that follow button, because that really, really helps me out. Also, if you are feeling really, really, really generous, then why not hit that big subscribe button. And that is everything. Have an amazing day, whatever you are doing, and I will see you in the next one. All right, guys, see you later. Bye.